Aye, Captain.
Hey guys, so we're gonna draw something so delicious. At the end, you're gonna want to lick your page. Now the things you need is just a plain blank paper, some markers, a pencil, and maybe an eraser if you make a mistake. Okay, time to get arty. Cool, so the first thing I'm gonna do is grab my blank piece of paper and my pencil and draw a big U shape, just upside down in the middle of the page. I'm just gonna close off at the bottom with a line going across. Now for the stick at the bottom, I'm gonna do a U shape the right way up and a little bit longer. Now to make the image 3D, you just gonna do a few lines going diagonally up to the right, just like so. Now 3D means three-dimensional, and what that means is kind of making it look like you can pick it out of the page. Being able to see the side of the object, from the front to the back. So we have our ice block, it's time to make him look like a pirate. So I'm gonna give him an eye patch. On the top, I'm gonna do kind of like a half circle for the actual patch here on the left. So for the eye that's on the right-hand side, just draw a circle and a smaller circle on the top left-hand corner. And the reason I'm doing this is it makes the eye look a bit reflective. Now, pirates are pretty cheeky, so I'm gonna give mine a raised eyebrow and a lopsided smile halfway between the eye patch and the right eye. So I'm gonna give my pirate an earring on the left-hand side. It's just simply making two C's right next to each other. Awesome work. And I also want to give him something to wear on his head. You can do a pirate hat. I'm gonna do a bandana. So I'm just gonna follow the line of the eye patch. I'm gonna tie a knot to the side with half a circle here, a line that goes out, and it comes back down to this point here. Now, our pirate looks a little bit angry, and that's because he's had a bit of his corner bitten off. Now, the way to draw the bite is I'm going to do some C shapes that connect at every point, the second one and the third one. And just with these bite marks, I'm going to connect them with some lines that just go like so. So I'm going to outline it with a black marker now. Now there's no rush, just take your time and make sure you're on a right pencil mark. You can always add additional elements if you like. A bit of an ice cream drip. Now with the eye patch, we're going to do a few lines going across to thicken that. Create a bit of a shadow. Now for the eye, let's colour it in. So do the outline of the larger circle. Now for the eyebrow, we're just thicken it up with some. Awesome. Now for the eye patch, you can colour it in completely black, but I'm going to put a skull in mine. Just follow my lead. It's just sort of a stretched out circle. Some lines that go down, two lines inside, and then two circles inside. And you have your skull. And just colour around it. Cool. Over those two C shapes. Almost there. You can use the same shadowing technique on the stick, just here, to show that that part of this bandana is behind this piece here. And sweet. We're done with the marking, we'll just erase those pencil lines. So now it's time to colour in our ice block. Pick a few colours. I'm going to start off with the bandana. I'm going to choose red. So we're going to draw some half circles and some circles. So by drawing some circles on the bandana, I'm giving it a pattern. Now for my earring, I'm going to make it gold using my yellow texture. I'm also going to give him a gold tooth. Maybe just here. So I add a bit more colour to the actual ice block itself. So I'm going to grab some blue and colour along the bottom, making it look like a beard almost. And it's also a nice contrast to the warm red at the top. So you can either leave it on the page or you can cut it out. Now guys, the scissors can be sharp, so just be careful. And there you go, your very own pirate popsicle. I'm Antony, and I'm an artist. I like to make all different types of art to keep it interesting for myself, but I mainly focus on drawing, painting, photography, and a bit of performance. So I do a lot of graphic design and freelance. I've done some artworks for labels on products, some coffee cups, some t-shirt designs, and it's a good way. It keeps me challenged, and it helps me develop new skills as it takes me to places I haven't really considered before. The piece I'm most proud of is a work called Elijah, which is of a portrait of a man with a long blue beard and his eyes closed. It's the first time I actually feel like I mastered illustration, drawing the beard strand by strand. And it's a little bit special. Around a year after I made it, I was going through some old photo albums and I came across some photographs of my dad when he was a lot younger. And I realised it looked a lot like him. My dad's no longer here, but it's a nice kind of thought to think that he's, you know, living on through memory on art, which is such a good thing. Yeah, I certainly do have an art philosophy. It's pretty much to make art for yourself first and for others second. I really enjoy just being on my own, and when I complete a work, it's that quiet success. So when you put it out into the world, if people like it, that's an added bonus. If people don't, that's okay, because you've achieved something for yourself. First memory of art, I was probably around 8 years old, and we were living in an old heritage house. And for some reason in the bathroom, half of it was tiled and the other half was wallpaper, so it eventually started to peel off. And so my mum one day ripped off all the wallpaper, got me some paint, just like, here, Antony, like, paint something up on the walls. So I did this whole underwater theme, which only lasted like 2 months before Mum was like, okay, it's probably not the best idea. But it was really nice to have her support and to have that kind of canvas for a while. The way I come with my ideas, I approach it in two ways. There's concept and then there's the actual practice and doing. So conceptually, I like to just feed myself visually, like go to galleries, watch movies, flick through magazines. And then just practicing it, using your hands and trying to figure out ideas. You might follow a path and it might lead to a dead end, or it might eventuate to something good. So it's using those two techniques. My biggest supporters would actually have to be my little niece and nephew. Whenever they come over, they always come, Uncle Artist, and they would run to my art supplies, which annoys me a little bit because I have them all kind of neatly placed. But yeah, we sit down, we draw, and they've probably got the biggest collection of scribbles I've ever done, so they're probably my biggest supporters.
Today we're going to be making a colourful back-to-front artwork, and here's what you're going to need. A blank canvas, a paintbrush, some black acrylic paint, colourful highlighters, some water, a pencil, scissors, clear contact, and somewhere to squeeze your paint onto. Okay, so we're just going to start by grabbing our blank canvas and our coloured highlighters, and we're going to colour in the whole thing. So I think I'm going to start with pink. Going to put a little bit here, and a little bit here, maybe some here. What we're doing is just getting colour all over this canvas. So we're eventually going to use every single colour that we're working with. Don't worry if it's messy at all. Actually, the messier, the better. It depends on what look you're going for though as well. So I'm just going to keep colouring this whole thing in until I've used every single colour and there are no blank spaces left on the canvas. There we go, all coloured in. I know it took a bit of time, but it's so worth it, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. And you'll see that I've also coloured all the way around the edges as well, because remember, the more colour, the better. So now it's time to cover our canvas in the clear contact. What we're going to do is measure out a big enough square that it fits all the way around. But a special tip when putting the contact on is to do it super carefully and smoothly so there's no bubbles. Take your scissors and just cut along the edge there. So now I'm going to flip it back over, find the edge of your contact and only peel off a little bit at a time. It's a lot easier if there's not any wind around. So now that I've peeled off just the tip of it, I'm going to tuck it over grab our contact and carefully lay it on top of the canvas, remembering to keep a little edge over the end for us to tuck over the canvas. Smooth it on, just like that. And then I like to use a ruler, or if you've got your paintbrush even, just as something to smooth it along. So I'm gonna hold this here as a straight line, and as I peel this off, we're going to push the paintbrush this way, and that's gonna smooth out any bubbles. And then as you reach the end, just pull the rest off, flip our canvas over, and we're gonna take our scissors and really carefully trim along each corner. Being very careful with the scissors and the sticky contact. It's very sticky. So now we've got this piece of contact with 2 angles cut into it like this. That gives us room to stretch it up over the edge and stick it down like that. Now we're just gonna do the exact same to this corner and trim off any of that excess contact because we don't wanna see any around the edges after that. There we go, we've stuck all the bits of contact on the back and flip it over, ta-da, and bubble free as well. So now it's just time to paint it. Grab our black acrylic paint and squirt a little bit out. Dip our paintbrush in our black paint and then start. I'm just doing my second coat of paint now to cover up any of those streaks. And then we're going to pop it in the sun for about 5 minutes to dry. Okay, once we're all done painting, just remember to clean your paintbrush off in some water, otherwise the paint will dry and ruin the brush. Our paint is all dry, so now it's time for my favourite part. We're going to get our pencil and not use the lead tip, but the other end. And here's when we're gonna scratch into the paint. So the black paint is gonna scratch away and the rainbow, which is underneath, is gonna shine through. It's the best part. I think I'm gonna write a word first and then maybe do a few patterns around the edges. There we go. Now the paint can be a little bit thick sometimes, but don't worry, just keep putting pressure on it and keep moving it. And don't worry if any of this kind of happens, you just roll the paint out, or you can make it part of your pattern. Ooh, I can see the rainbow coming through. You might want to map out, before you go into it, just a basic outline of what your pattern or word will be. That way, when you do it, you know exactly where to scratch. Just take it slowly as well, because we can always go back over the scratch. Can you tell what I'm writing yet? Oh, it's coming together. Blow away all that excess paint that comes out when you're scratching it. And there we have it. Our colourful artwork is all ready to hang up on the wall. Yay!
Today I'm going to show you how to bring the jungle inside the house, minus the snakes, with your very own jungle bunting. You will need some string, coloured cardboard, scissors, a pencil, a ruler and some sticky tape. Let's get started. So your first step is to decide what kind of shape leaf that you want to do. And I'm going to start with some small ones. Fold your cardboard to half the size you want your leaf. I've just got a ruler here. I'm just using it to help me make a really good crease down the middle. I'm going to cut along this line with my scissors. Draw half of the design of your leaf. We're only drawing half because when we cut it and unfold it, then you get the whole shape of your leaf. Grab your pencil, start with a little stem up the top. Now, a really good tip is when you're drawing the stem of your leaf, make sure you draw it down the fold of your cardboard because we're going to use that later to connect to the string. Grab your scissors, watch your fingers here, and just start cutting around the shape. Just cut all the way around. in the jungle, there's lots of different colours, so I'm using a few purples, some yellow, orange, whatever you like. I normally do about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 10 of the same leaf just to get a nice sort of pattern going. Just fold it back over, put it on your card, and then you can just trace. The more leaves you do, the fuller your bunting is going to be and the longer it will be. So just put those to the side. Okay, now for my next colour. So open it out, and there you go. So I've just repeated that same process with a few different colours and prepared a few different shapes and sizes of leaves. So before I fasten my leaves, I'm going to grab my string and tape it to the end of my table so it doesn't move, so it's secure. The first step is to, well, start putting your leaves on. So take your string like this, place it on top, and just fold it over. It's just like you're kind of hanging the washing out on the line. Get some sticky tape and just stick it down like that and flip it over. Done, easy. If you want, you can go back in and you might want to draw some patterns over your leaves. And that's basically how you build your jungle bunting. Now, you don't have to connect all your leaves to the string. I'm going to connect this leaf to the bottom of another leaf. I might just put a little bit of tape on the back like that, and then just stick it here. Cool, and just get going. So my bunting's coming along nicely, but I think it's missing like a really big leaf, so I might grab some pinky purpley. It's exactly the same technique as we used before, but we want it to be wider. So I'll just fold the paper maybe to about here and just draw a giant leaf and then go out. So I've just drawn the outline for my leaf, and I know I said I wanted it to be big, but I think this is going to be giant, so that's easy to fix. I'll just go a little bit smaller. Around, that looks a bit better. So grab my scissors. And just remember to be really careful when you're using your scissors. Go. Cool. Okay, so I've just attached my last leaf. I'm going to grab my scissors and cut the end of my string. And let's see how it looks. And there you have it, my jungle bunting.
Just as a painter would paint with tubes of paint and colour, we paint with light. Mainly we're about illuminating large areas in interesting ways. We use light that's got a lot of control, and we can do different colours and we can point it in different directions. I think art needs to do something to you emotionally, intrigue or delight, or sometimes you might not even like it, but it gets you thinking.
Light can be spaces, light can be moonlight, light can be daylight.
It's not just about the light. Darkness is very important, shadow and the mystery of these places, and without them you don't really appreciate how beautiful the light is.
Our vision is all made up of light. Think about painting with shadows, you know, trying to get that contrast of light and shadow. So light's a pretty wild beast, and you need to understand certain things to try and control it and manipulate and make it do what you want it to do. Sometimes there's different intensities in light. You can change the colour temperatures, you can have warm lights or cool lights. different intensities will give you different effects on objects. You've got the light bouncing through here and it's being widened, so it'll hit a very large surface. You can actually have them really focused to a pinpoint, and you can experiment with this sort of stuff with your dad's flashlight and create something interesting.
Light art is an unusual mixture of art, science, technology. It's also a little bit about architecture because there's structures. There's about design because you're solving problems of how to hold things up, how to illuminate things, how things are going to be positioned. There's a lot of technology sitting around the place. Control boxes, data boxes. You must have your artistic vision but get the technology to support it. I'm Ruth McDermott.
And I'm Ben Baxter, and we are light artists.